Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? I and many others were completely taken aback today when the New Orleans Saints announced that they traded defensive back Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Dennis Allen did meet with the media today and gave an explanation on the decision.
I want to say this. I want to say that was not an easy decision. I love Chauncey. He's been a big part of what we've been able to do here, specifically defensively, a big part of our organization for the last 3 years. And certainly we wish him the best. We wouldn't have done that if we didn't feel extremely confident in the group that we have. We feel like the defensive backfield was one of the deeper positions that we had, and we had a chance to acquire some more assets, and so that's the decision that we made.
The Saints traded Chauncey Gardner-Johnson for pennies on the dollar. They sent C.D. Deuce to the Eagles for a 2023 fifth-round pick and a 2024 sixth-round pick. The Saints will also send a 2025 seventh-round pick along with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I have a lot of thoughts on this. I'm not going to lie, though. This is hard. This might be the saddest I've ever been over a trade. I mean, there's really only two professional sports franchises that I love. It's the Saints and the Yankees. Let me add a third, of course, with the Pelicans. I'm talking about in my entire lifetime. The Pelicans have only been around since 2002. And I've seen players come and go. It was very hard to watch Bobby Hebert play for the Atlanta Falcons and do the airplane on the field of the Superdome. It sucked watching Ricky Jackson win a Super Bowl with San Francisco or Sam Mills playing Carolina. As far as trades go, the Saints traded Pat Swilling to Detroit, so really the Dome Patrol was broken apart as such. Jimmy Graham got traded back in 2015, and that was really surprising. I was a big proponent of Jimmy Graham's. But it worked out. Max Unger was a great starting center and anchor of your line. You got a 2015 number one pick. That became Stephon Anthony, so that didn't actually work out. So we might be able to actually revisit that and think that trade didn't work, but I digress. Y'all, I love Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. The day they drafted him, I told you. He's the guy. I hated him at Florida. Hated him. He's the guy that you hate from the other team, but you are so damn glad when he's on your team. Well, the Saints have options in the secondary, and we'll run through that. But replacing the attitude is something that's going to be hard to do. Y'all realize this is a man who fought Michael Thomas at practice? He got his own teammate to punch him at practice. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is a mastermind of the mind games. This man, a few years ago in Chicago, stealthily swiped another man's mouthpiece. It was only discovered by TV cameras after he was punched in the face with a helmet on. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson became the meme king when he savagely taunted the greatest football player to ever live by crossing his arms right in front of him as if to say, "What now, goat?" Y'all, I love Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. C.D. Deuce, whatever you want to call him. I want him on my team. And I am not happy today. You may have to kill the violins. I might actually cry. Yeah, you can go and take it. I mean, we know why this happened, don't we? Like, we know why this happened. I mean, Dennis Allen was asked point blank if this was about the contract.
Was the trade related to his contract situation?
You know what? I think we're just going to let that go, and it was just an opportunity for us to do what we felt like would help our team.
Translation, of course it was about the contract. Jeff Duncan right now is reporting that the Saints and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson were about $4 million apart on the contract. And when there is a gap that significant, you're not going to find a middle ground. Both sides will have to go too far off their number to find something that works. And we saw it. I mean, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson had sort of the hold in during camp when he asked for the new contract and kind of missed a few practices, was back. But yeah, we've just seen this too much. The Saints do not get emotional about players. They went through long, arduous contract disputes with Drew Brees, literally the greatest player in the history of the organization. They went through multiple arduous contract disputes. A year ago, we saw Trey Hendrickson walk. This year, we saw Marcus Williams walk. They let Mark Ingram walk over what ended up being pennies relative to NFL contracts. We just know the Saints' approach. The Saints have a number, and they're not going over it. They know what they're willing to pay a player, and they're not going over it. And Chauncey Gardner-Johnson wants to be the highest paid nickelback in the NFL. And the Saints and CeeDee Deuce were just too far apart. So the Saints had two options. One, you let him play out this season, and like Hendrickson and like Marcus Williams, you let him walk in free agency and get nothing for him. Two, you trade him now and get something for him, because you know he's not signing with you next year anyway because his asking price is too high. And maybe someone else will give him that number. Maybe not. That's what happened with Mark Ingram. They said, Mark, go test the market. And the market wasn't there for him. Not like he thought it would be. But clearly with the Eagles doing this deal, they're telling you they're going to pay Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. And you can look and say, well, they only got a fifth and a sixth. But, friends, don't you think the Saints took the best offer? I mean, don't you think? It's not like Philly picked up the phone and said, hey, Mickey, we'd like to trade for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. How about a fifth and a sixth-round pick? Sounds good to me. Done. Come on, y'all. Of course they worked the phones. Of course they called every team. They tried to field the best offer. Of course you do. And you could say, well, that's not market value. Yes, it is, because that's what the market was willing to pay for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Because not only are you giving up assets, but you're going to have to pay him as well. We talk about it all the time. You have to have a willing trade partner. And the Eagles clearly gave the Saints the best offer for a guy like CeeDee Deuce. And the reality is that the secondary this season in New Orleans is going to be fine. They're going to be fine. Emotionally, this sucks. But you know they're going to be fine. CeeDee Deuce missed 5 games a year ago, y'all. Bradley Roby filled in at the nickel. They were fine. You'll have Marshawn Lattimore on one side. You'll have Paulson Adebo on the other. Tyrann Mathieu, Marcus Mayer, your safeties. Bradley Roby's your nickel. Let's say hypothetically, if Adebo's not healthy enough, ready to go for the opener, no worries. Bradley Roby goes to the outside. Alontae Taylor steps in as your nickel, your second-round pick. This also clears up why they drafted Alontae Taylor, doesn't it? They were getting plenty of insurance in that spot. So, y'all, I know that on the field, they're going to be fine. The secondary is one of the strengths of the team. They clearly come to a point where they know they were at an impasse and they weren't going to be able to re-sign this player, so they got assets for him. It's the old adage. You'd rather get rid of a player a year too soon than a year too late. And especially having watched Hendrickson and Marcus Williams walk without getting anything for them, they weren't going to let that happen again. And a team that's been so free to trade draft assets now recoups a couple in the next few years. But the gigantic question is, how do you replace his attitude? The Saints have put a premium so much on culture throughout the years. How do you replace the guy that, when he's on your team, plays with that swag, that is unafraid? The guy that's willing to go fold his arms in front of Tom Brady, that's willing to yank another dude's mouthpiece out of his helmet, a dude that's willing to get into it to provoke his own teammate so much that he fights him at practice. How do you replace that guy? And the answer is you don't. You don't replace that component that Chauncey Gardner-Johnson brought to this team. Intellectually, I get it. I understand what the Saints did today. Emotionally, it's a gut punch, y'all. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.